Enough. Don't insist, but I have given you a chance. Don't interrupt. All right, I will tell the government. I'll bring it to the notice of the government. Please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to draw the attention of the House and the whole country towards a problem through you, which in my opinion is quite serious. On the 12th of March, Business Standard published a news that a notice has been given to the Government of India that an international organization, which is not a government organization, which gives opinion about the creditworthiness of any country, has put some 46 questions to the Government of India. And all these questions relate to major economic policies about disinvestment, about privatization, about insurance, about subsidy, everything that we can imagine of that has been raised in. This is the news. Tough Moody's posers to decide India's rating. Earlier it was World Bank and IMF. Now Moody is giving a notice. It is not a big news item. If you want, I can read it out. And this is in such a language that any Indian will feel ashamed of it. I don't know what is the reaction of the government. According to my information, the government is trying to give answer to all these questions. And they are making preparation for that. It will not be known to this House. It will not be known to the people of this country. These policy matters will be divulged to an organization, Moody, in order to get the creditworthiness certificate for this country. Mr. Private organization. Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I shall just read out. The National Rating Agency, International Rating Agency, Moody's Investor Services, has put several tough queries before the government on issues ranging from integration of the oil-cooled deficit into the centre's finances to the inability of public sector spending and the government's failure to adhere to public sector disinvestment schedules. The government's response to these queries will determine Moody's decision to retain India under credit watch. The agency put the country on credit watch with negative implications just a week after the budget. The report was prepared prior to the budget presentation. The agency's sovereign risk unit has listed 46 issues to the Finance Ministry for discussion during its visit in the third week of March. Moody's also expects a timetable for capital account convertibility, opening up the insurance, pension and provident fund sectors. It also wants a purview in the long-term strategy for deregulating administered prices and reducing subsidies. The queries are divided into 7 heads: fiscal, deregulation, industrial policy, domestic debt management, external accounts policy, and prices on monetary and exchange rate besides external commercial borrowing. The government has also been asked to identify the factors that contribute to the inflexibility of public sector spending and the political and economic constraints in cutting fiscal imbalances. Moody's has queried if the political environment has changed to push through reforms in this sector. On the oil pool account, Moody's has asked how it will be integrated into the central government finances. This is significant as the oil pool deficit does not form part of the fiscal deficit. On the disinvestment front, Moody's has asked why the schedules are not adhered to. Moody's has asked the Centre what instruments it possesses to control state and local spending. It also wants to know how the Centre deals with the non-payments and rollovers of states. On infrastructure, Moody's has asked about a long-term policy to encourage private investment and the view on government guarantees for projects. Moody's has come down very hard on the government over domestic debt management. Is it the burden of a large public sector debt perceived by the present government? It said, and also asked for the measures to stabilize this debt. The government has been told to list the fiscal tools intended to be used in the domestic demand management in 1997-98. On external accounts, Moody's has asked how much additional tariff liberalization can be tolerated in advance of revenue reform. This is an important query, as the reduction in tariffs will result in a fall in government revenue, which has to be offset by revenue reform. This is the news item, Mr. Speaker. Here, I don't know. I don't know even there. I think. No. Mr. Speaker, sir, even if they are present, I don't expect much from them. Because I am very frank. They are under such a great pressure. It is not the only news. On the same page, there is another news from International Monetary Fund. Where are you heading to, Mr. Speaker? I am not criticizing anybody. I don't want anybody that they should answer this question, because the finance minister will come here, will give the flowery statement in flowery language, and everybody will be satisfied. We have never had such a brilliant finance minister. Mr. Somnath Chatterjee, I expect from you, I expect from friends who have adhered to certain policies. It is not the question of, Mr. Speaker, only of economic policy. It is the question of dignity, honor, sovereignty of this nation. And this is at stake, Mr. Speaker. I shall like to know from the government whether they are going to respond to this in the third week of March without bringing all these matters before this House, because these are vital policy issues. Mr. Speaker, I sent this notice to you yesterday because I never rise up in this 0 hour, but I think this is such a vital matter that we just cannot ignore, and I shall like you, Mr. Speaker, to use your good offices to see that, so that this government sees some point in defending the honor and dignity of this nation.
Dr. Bhoi. Dr.